The gaming industry has had many urban legends, from the infamous Polybius to long-lost versions of games we'll never see, and even tales of demons possessing beloved classics, such as these two. Red, the Hell Beast, and Sonic.EXE, the bastion of sadism. Now, for the sake of a fair match, we'll be having this battle take place within Sonic.EXE's game, as it will allow him to fight at full power without any restrictions. As well, we're not using anything non-canon to either character, so no Colossal Kaiju combat, even though that's not out yet, or any of the Sonic.EXE fan games. I'm one fish mob, and it's my job to see who would win in a fight. Godzilla, Monster of Monsters. A beloved classic amongst Godzilla fans. But rumor has it, out there in the world somewhere is a copy of the 1988 game. But this is no ordinary copy of the NES classic. This copy is said to be possessed by a sadistic entity, a demon that controls a second-hand copy of the game, twisting and warping it into whatever he pleases. And whoever plays the game will be tormented, if not worse, by the creature simply known as Red. This Red has no real known history, but it's safe to assume he possessed the Godzilla game to somehow torture and torment the main protagonist of the story by constantly stalking, taunting, chasing, and slaughtering all of his monsters. Speaking of which, he can't do this without some insane abilities. Red is just as fast, if not even faster, than Godzilla, and is strong enough to smash right through stone. He can keep up with and defeat the likes of Godzilla, Anguirus, and Solomon, and easily held up an injured Mothra. In the game, Red has an insane amount of health, capable of tanking Godzilla's atomic breath, and can devour giant monsters whole. But Red doesn't go into battle with his mouth gaping open. He has claws to cut into opponents. His legs can add reach to his attacks as well as grapple, and can use his sharp tail to stab other monsters with. But like a typical kaiju, he has plenty of useful abilities. He breathes a large stream of hellfire from his mouth or hands, fires blazing hot needles from his mouth, extend a tentacle made of intestines with a claw to attack, grab, and pull other monsters into his gaping maw with. He can summon mines that fall from the air, create a claw-shaped ball of energy that hones in on the opponent, mentally manipulate others, can make others feel great amounts of pain, even of those who exist in the real world, and even warp and alter the levels and boards of the game itself, as long as it's staying by the rules of the game engine. But it doesn't end there. He's also a shapeshifter, taking on a variety of different forms. His default form is his land form, where he can run fast on 4 spidery legs. His sea form lets him swim really fast, and he can grow bat wings and gain the ability to fly and perform a swoop attack to crush his foes. But his most dangerous form is his final form. An absolutely massive abomination so large, it makes Godzilla look like a mere bug. In this form, all of his abilities are accessible. He has 3 times as much health as his other forms, can breathe large amounts of hellfire from his mouth and multiple hands, can crush other monsters underneath his feet, use his tail like a weapon, use a giant intestine tentacle, shoot blazing hot needles out of his mouth, and swallow creatures as big as Godzilla whole. Even though Red is not the king of the monsters, he can certainly challenge him. He managed to get Melissa, Zack's girlfriend, to kill herself, made Zack feel actual pain whenever the monster he was playing as took damage, and killed Godzilla, Anguirus, Mothra, and Solomon with relative ease. However, Red is far from a true monster. He was unable to catch Zack in the chase levels. He can be killed with enough physical damage, and while he is able to change levels and boards, he has to go by the rules of the game's engine. And in the end, he was ultimately defeated by the characters of the game, Zack and Melissa's soul, permanently ending his reign of terror. You hear his laugh. You hear the music. Then you die. That's the continuing cycle of the game Sonic.EXE. But before all of that, it was just a useless void somewhere which housed an evil entity known as X. He was just a simple blob of dark matter living in the void. But that all changed when he found out about Sonic the Hedgehog and quickly became obsessed with him. He became so obsessed, this eventually led to him literally molding his world into a twisted copy of Sonic's world, and creating a body replicating the blue hedgehog to store all his energy. After this, the infamous game known as Sonic.EXE was born, a literal hell where all the classic characters of the franchise are brutally killed over and over again. As a sadistic demonic being, Sonic.EXE loves to murder people. He usually does this with his own bare hands, which he uses for mutilation and are strong enough to draw blood just by grabbing people. But Sonic.EXE isn't just limited to his hands. He can teleport to any location he wants, can hover above the ground and travel at high speeds like this, and can warp the reality of his world with no restrictions. He can also possess people, even if they're in other worlds. Speaking of which, he can also travel to other universes. He can control the minds of those with darkness in their hearts, change his body to appear as other characters. He can summon large amounts of fire, manipulate the blood of himself and others through his mind, and manipulate light and shadow. He can phase through objects in his true form, is extremely manipulative, and is immortal. And since he took the form of Sonic, he most likely has Sonic's powers, supersonic speed being one of them. Despite being a copy of a more popular character, Sonic.EXE has shown himself to be far more dangerous. He's trapped several souls in his realm, is considered all-powerful in the context of his universe, and was able to create a portal to his universe in the form of a disc using only a human who he had control of the mind of. However, Sonic.EXE is heavily flawed. He enjoys inflicting pain and suffering on his victims, wanting to break them first. He's always fought what are basically normal humans, and though he can travel to other universes, he's extremely limited outside of his universe. Heck, spending long enough outside of his universe will eventually cause him to die. However, Sonic.EXE has shown himself to be a very dangerous foe. You want my advice? If you want to play a Sonic game, just buy the official release. Alright, the combatants are set. This battle will have no prep time, no outside help, and Sonic.EXE will have the home field advantage. Let the battle begin.
So many souls to play with. So little time. Do you want to play with me? Fight!
Well, this will have interesting consequences. So why did Sonic.EXE win? Well, for one, this was a pretty close match, both appropriately countering the other in some way. While Red was a lot larger and heavier, Sonic.EXE was faster and more mobile, making it a lot harder for Red to catch. And while Red could warp the reality of the game to somewhat counter Sonic.EXE's reality warping, Sonic.EXE's reality warping abilities just don't have limitations like Red's. However, the thing that truly gave Sonic.EXE the win was the fact that he could mind control and manipulate the blasphemous Red into a position he could exploit. And before you say he can't, there's nothing in the original Creepypasta that says he's immune to mind control or can't be manipulated. And since Red can be killed through physical attacks over time alone, it was only a matter of time until Sonic.EXE could find a way to kill Red. However, I will admit if Sonic.EXE was in Red's world, Red would have won since Sonic.EXE would have been very limited in what he could do. But for what this battle stands for, it looks like Red will only be seeing red. The winner is Sonic.EXE.